said optical shops weren't very inviting. So we, Warby Parker, created ones that were. They said prescription eyewear was too expensive, so we offered more affordable glasses, contacts, and eye exams. They said opticians weren't always friendly, so we hired only the friendliest and the most knowledgeable. And finally, they said the whole experience was just kind of unpleasant, so we set out to change that too. Visit a Warby Parker store and see for yourself.
You're in a hurry.
I'm off to America's Best. I heard what you said about not overpaying for glasses.
2 pairs and a free quality eye exam starting at just $79.95?
Yes! The exam alone is worth
$59.
Which is great, because I hate getting overcharged.
You have no idea.
I mean, people deserve breaks, right?
Yeah, breaks.
Let's go save. Can't stop, won't stop.
Coming in hot. 2 pairs and a free exam starting at $79.95. Book an exam today at americasbest.com. Do I just leave it here?
It's Sydney's vision to teach her kids all of great-grandma's recipes. Michael's vision is seeing quarter notes from his piano bench without straining. It's Anne's vision to always be her authentic self. And this is Sue's vision, to bring the science of optometry and the art of helping people under one roof so that patients can live their best lives, so that they can see, look, and feel their best in everything they do. At MyEyeDr, vision is more than prescriptions. It's early detection that protects your overall eye health and wellness. It's taking time to help find your unique style. It's asking better questions. It's knowing what matters most to you so we can help you achieve it. Being there for your whole family. Being part of the communities we serve. Making them stronger for the work we do together. At MyEyeDr, vision isn't one thing. It's as varied and diverse as the people who come through our doors. That's why we build our practices around the very best optometrists. Local experts who understand optometry in the context of greater health. It's why we welcome all insurances, so you and your doctor can focus on the things that really matter. And it's why our skilled opticians work in close partnership with your doctor to help you find the right fit every time. Because there is nothing more important to us than how you see the world. At MyEyeDr, we share your vision.
I just love that. And it was my vision over 13, 14 years ago applying to optometry school to increase the representation of women and African Americans in optometry. And I get to do that with Black Eyecare Perspective. Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Essence Johnson, an HBCU-made residency-trained community and correctional health optometrist. And I'm also the executive director of Black Eyecare Perspective. And I welcome you all to our 4th annual Impact HBCU. If you see it, you can be it. It has always been our goal that you will leave here more informed about what it takes to pursue a career in the eye care industry. Be inspired to become an optometrist by earning your Doctor of Optometry degree. And this year, I normally give a shout out to my alma mater, Prairie View. Hey, Prairie View, and the sorors and my sisters of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. But I want to give a special shout out to all of the historically Black colleges and universities that we've been able to impact over these last 4 years. With our partners, the ones that are helping sponsor this virtual event tonight, MyEyeDr, Warby Parker, and America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, we have also been able to partner with Transitions and VSP Vision and go on tour. So we have impacted the universities of Florida A&M University, Tennessee State University, as well as Xavier University, North Carolina Central, and Paul Quinn College. So if anyone is out there in the chat representing those schools, drop the hearts in your school colors, put a shout out with your school's name. Let us know that you are out there. We have been able to examine the eyes of over hundreds of students, and tens of more have been recruited into our Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club. And we look forward to returning to the campus of North Carolina Central University on next week. I invite all of you guys that are joining us today, please rep your school, your college, your university, your sorority, your fraternity, or whatever organization in addition to where you are. We have individuals from elementary school through college and beyond tuning in tonight, all the way from California to Texas, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Louisiana, Georgia, New York, Maryland, North Carolina, Florida. I see New Orleans in the house. Hello, ladies. We had an amazing time visiting the campus of Xavier University on last week. Also, let us know, where do you want us to bring the tour next? Let us know what HBCU we should impact next, or which college and university we can impact. So Black Eyecare Perspective was founded by optometrist Dr. Adam Ramsey and Dr. Daryl Glover, and it was designed and created to cultivate and foster lifelong relationships between Black students and optometrists in the eye care industry. Along with myself, Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, Dr. Tiffany Humes, our optometry associations, our industry partners, allies, our community of doctors, we are redefining the color of the eye care industry 1% at a time by creating a pipeline for Black students into the profession. Hey, FAMU, hey, Florida, I see you guys out there. So again, over these last 4 years, we have taken this virtual moment and turned Impact HBCU into a movement. Our virtual event, again, is made possible tonight because of our partnerships with America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, MyEyeDr, and Warby Parker. And they will all share updates with us later in this program. And our past Impact HBCU events, if you guys have missed year 1, 2, and 3, you can go and view them on blackeyecareperspective.com, along with more information about our HBCU Light Intelligence Tour with transitions and our mobile clinic tour with the VSP Eyes of Hope. So we have given some shout outs to Xavier University, and it's a special night because they have some alumni in the house that are going to be our esteemed panelists. So tonight we're going to highlight 2 of Xavier's alumni, and who are also graduates of the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University. Both of these lovely doctors are currently residing and practicing in the Atlanta metro area. And I am happy to bring onto the screen with me Dr. Kelsea Brown, who's a 2015 graduate of Xavier University and a 2020 graduate of Salus University, and a longtime friend, little sister, mentee, mentor, Dr. Nwamaka Ngoddy, who is a 2007 Xavier grad and a 2012 Salus graduate. Welcome, 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 ladies. All of this black and gold in the house. Now, I will tell you guys, this whole time, I thought your school's colors had green in it. And Tiffany told us, Dr. Humes, when we were on campus, that no, our school colors are really black and gold. What's up with that? Where does the green come from?
It's in the, I really think they're white and gold.
Hey, Xavier students in the chat, let us know with the close of the heart.
It's just like gold and white and black, and there's like a little shade.
There's a little green in the crest.
A little crest,
yeah.
Crest. Yeah.
It's like a little accent color.
I got you, because all over
why you starting off the
there's a
interview
lot
like
of green.
why is that?
I know I should have prepped you guys before, but this is the glory live. But I just wanted to know, because Dr. Humes had to school me, and I was today years old. Look, thank you, Nicole. The green is in the crest, and the colors are white and gold.
White and gold.
So how many of y'all, if y'all were today's years old when y'all learned that, it's okay to admit it in the chat, because I was today's years old when I learned a lot of stuff on my trip at New Orleans last week. But welcome, you guys. I know I did not even give you guys an introduction that does y'all justice, but I know that you guys are both very dynamic ladies. And when I heard earlier in that MyEyeDr commercial, addressing one's vision, I wanted you guys to introduce yourselves, of course, letting everyone know who you are. But I also want to know, what is your vision for the eye care industry? And it can be the vision that you had entering into optometry school, and is that past vision, what you're envisioning and doing now, or what your current vision is for the eye care industry. So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Brown. Who is Dr. Kelsea Brown, and what is your vision for the eye care industry?
Well, as you guys know, I'm an optometrist and also an entrepreneur. For me, I love mentoring. Okay, going to optometry school was very difficult. And I had a lot of mentors who helped me along the way. So now that I've graduated and I'm successful, I just feel like that I need to give back to people who look like me. I want more people to be involved in the field of optometry because it's a really great field. So if I can lead one, that's what I plan to do until the day I leave this earth.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And I pose the same question to you, Dr. Ngoddy. Who are you? And then what is your vision for the eye care industry?
Okay, Essence, thank you so much for your wonderful introduction. I am Dr. Nwamaka Ngoddy, and I am the founder and CEO of Nwamaka Eyewear, where we design frames specifically with Black facial features in mind. I'm also the practice owner of iServe, where I provide comprehensive eye services in the metro Atlanta area. I'm super proud to do that, and I'm proud to have an emphasis on education as well as quick and speedy exams. So part of what I want to kind of see, or my vision for the eye care industry, is an eye care industry that really educates people on the importance of ocular health. There are a lot of conditions that happen that people won't know, and they think that, oh, I don't need glasses, so I don't have to go to the eye doctor. But what I really hope to see with this program and others like it is us being able to broaden our horizons and really help people avoid eye diseases that can cause lifelong blindness by really taking control of their ocular health, going in and having their eye exams, as well as, okay, of course, providing fashionable eyewear that is size inclusive. So that those two things would sum up my vision and my goals for the ocular or optometric eye care industry.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, you guys have some shout outs in the chat. You guys have some fellow school and college members that are there, current and past, personal patients and friends that are out there too as well. And someone said, okay, entrepreneurs and girl bosses. And yes, we are here with two phenomenal optometrists that are entrepreneurs in multiple spaces and ways. And we're going to talk a little bit later about how that shows up. And there's a lot of people out here interested, on how you leverage just social media and build a brand. But before you guys became the girl bosses you were, y'all were just little old teenagers going to Xavier University, a historically Black college and university in New Orleans. And I just want you guys, because some people don't always know what an HBCU is. Some people are always interested on, how did you find out about that university or that college? For me, I'm also an HBCU grad. I went to Prairie View, and I'm originally from Southern California. Many people do not know that or realize that, because I have lived in Texas now longer than California. But I found out about my HBCU by a phone call. I got a call from the Department of Biology head, and he said, Essie, I want you to come to Prairie View, and I'm going to give you a full ride presidential scholarship.
I know that's right.
I will tell y'all, I have never applied to Prairie View to this day. So if y'all go and look for my application, it does not exist. But I got accepted. Probably by the good works of the SATs and networking and just a really good pipeline system of recruiting just talented Black people. And that is how I got into my HBCU all the way from Southern California. So Dr. Brown, starting with you, because I know you're not originally from Atlanta. You're not originally from Louisiana either.
No. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. So I've really lived in a whole lot of places. But no one really knows this, but I graduated salutatorian when I was in high school. I used to be very shy. I used to keep to myself until I branched out in college. So when I was applying to colleges, I was really just applying to state schools to kind of be close to home, to my parents, really. I'm the only child, don't have any siblings. So I really just wanted to stay home until I had a conversation with my biology teacher, and she pulled me to the side. She was like, you don't want to go to Xavier? And I was like, Xavier, where's that? What's that? And she told me all about this school. She was like, you need to go to a place that's going to challenge you. You have not been challenged. High school is a little bit too easy for you. I want you to be surrounded by people who look like you and to also be challenged. So I shout out to you, Mrs. Buford. You inspired me. You're the sole reason that I went to Xavier University of Louisiana. And you're the reason why I'm an optometrist today. So shout out to you. It's always those teachers that you grow up with in high school that really, truly motivate you.
I love that you shared that, Dr. Brown. I think the more that I work with students, on the college end, the optometry end, and even now in this K through 12 space, a big part that comes up a lot is like, I wish someone would have just told me or asked me or showed me the way. So it is just very powerful sometimes to just make that recommendation, to see something in someone. And it doesn't matter. You guys heard Dr. Brown was salutatorian. You go, girl.
Thank you.
All the snaps and all the circles. And even still, you needed that push. And I think sometimes it's even important to point out that even though you may be smart, even if you may come from a 2-parent or 2-income home, like we still need help too.
We still need help.
It's not uncommon for Black students, especially, to be first generation or first generation-esque college students. And that's what I consider myself. Yes, my father went to college, but we don't have a long line of college going people. So by the time we did it, me and my siblings were the ones kind of paving the way and making the rules for one another, me being the oldest and trickling it all the way down to kind of develop a very positive college-going culture. Now, Dr. Nwamaka, you have a little bit different background. You like the hometown Atlanta girl, but you did not go to a college in the AUC. You also went to Xavier University, but I also know you have, a very robust international background too as well. So tell us a little bit more about just your journey as a student and entering into college and how you found Xavier University.
First of all, Essence, I just want to say that I'm loving your interview style. This is great. Robust international background is very cute. I am Nigerian American, first generation. And so I actually grew up wanting to be a doctor, not just being told that, oh, you have to be a doctor. My siblings and I are all doing excellent things, but we don't have that story of like, oh, everybody here has to be a doctor. So I grew up saying I wanted to be a doctor, and my dad had one of the aunties, one of the ladies in our community. She went to Xavier for pharmacy school, and so she came back and she told my dad that she had heard about a great thing, and she said, all these kids, they're Black, they're African American, and they are going to be doctors. Xavier is known for making Black doctors, and Nwamaka needs to go to that school. And so I was kind of like, and I knew I did not want to stay in Atlanta, y'all. I don't know what, I did not want to stay in Atlanta. I wasn't going to nobody's UGA, go Dogs, that's cool, but I wasn't going. And so I didn't want to stay in Atlanta at all. And so we actually went on a tour, and I was like, no, this is it. Like, say less. I was ready to be in New Orleans. I loved everything I saw in New Orleans. I loved the culture of it, even at 18, just to think like this would be a great place to be and be a part of. And so that's how I ended up at Xavier University. So yeah.
No,
and also, I did not shout out my sorority. And I know that there are sorors in the chat that are looking like, girl, when you going to say that you are a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated? So yes, so sorry, I had to say that real quick.
No, we love it. Let's do a little Divine Nine roll call, as we always do. So let's take this brief moment. If you are a part of one of the 9 illustrious organizations, please put your colors, put your sorority and fraternity in the chat. Now, thank you, ladies, for sharing your HBCU experience and how you just got involved. We have students here that are still in high school that want to know about colleges. And right now, HBCUs are kind of hot, a little bit hotter than what it was when we applied. There are a lot of opportunities too for scholarships going into it. Even for those that are interested in optometry, our National Optometric Association, and I see Dr. Boone in the chat, go and holler at Dr. Paula Boone. She is one of our great staples down there in Virginia, one of the first Black female optometrists in that state. She helps with the HBCU Envisioning the Future grant with the National Optometric Association and VSP. So if you are attending a HBCU and you're interested in optometry, that is a scholarship that you need to apply to help get great mentorship like we talked about. And we're going to talk a little bit more about just the benefits of mentors and how that shows up as we transition into how we got into and through optometry school. All three of us have had the pleasure to go to the Pennsylvania College of Optometry at Salus University. And I think anytime when I think back to my optometry school days, all that I have running in my head is that nobody told you that the road was going to be easy. And I think that people need to embody that Mary Mary song, because I get students out who were like, Dr. Johnson, this ain't what I thought it was, and you didn't tell me this. I want everyone to know, I am telling y'all, you too can get into optometry school. You can also get through optometry school. But I'm letting you know that road may be paved with some challenges and some obstacles, and they show up in many different ways. So I would love for you guys to share your road kind of to and through optometry school. And, you know, we're in a very open, safe space, brave space. Let's also be a little transparent on any of the challenges or struggles that you had throughout that process, whether it's getting into school, trying to get out of school, doing our residencies. What is it? I am always open to share my biggest challenge in optometry school, how to surround. My mom had cancer. She was terminally ill, and she happened to pass away during my third year of optometry school. So that was a challenge that I kind of prepared for, but it was still unexpected. But it really helped me navigate how I'm going to network and make relationships with like Dean Horn at the time, with our instructors, with our other faculty and staff, but also the great support of my classmates and my little sisters and big sisters, and just really big brothers and little brothers too. Just really how my whole optometry school community really kept me on track and allowed me to graduate on time. And I tell the students all the time, when you're going to optometry school in your 20s, seems like life be lifing. Before I even knew the term, life was lifing. We were in optometry school. So Dr. Brown, starting with you, tell us a little bit about your road to and through optometry school, and how was life lifing while you were in school?
Life was really lifing. One of the hardest challenges was first getting accepted. So I applied to PCO, Pennsylvania College of Optometry, and they had told me initially that my OAT score was a little bit too low. So obviously, immediately, I'm discouraged. I'm like, okay, I thought I did really well. You know, I thought I had a great score. I guess it wasn't high enough. I guess I wasn't considered competitive enough. So I retook it. I didn't hear back for months. And I was just, you know, starting to doubt myself. Like, is optometry really for me? Do I need to start looking into another career path? Well, let me tell you how the Lord works and prayer works. I literally got accepted to optometry school 1 week before school started. 1 week. So I can tell you, don't give up. If you want to go to a school, just apply. You never know when you're going to hear from them. And for me, I never heard from them. I was emailing every other day. Hey, my application is submitted. Any updates? I retook my OAT. Can I get some updates? Stay on them. Stay on the admissions office. That's what they're here for. They're here to answer any of your questions. So don't give up. The journey is going to be hard, but if it's meant for you, it truly will be meant for you.
No, thank you for sharing that. Some people are like, wow, 1 week.
1 week, I literally packed up all of my things and I drove to Elkins Park, Pennsylvania.
No, Dr. Cleaver put, wow, we have several friends. We have a story of one particular friend. It's like we were walking together and they got that call and was like, gotta go. I'm about to go to optometry school. And it was literally like days before school was coming. And I will tell any of y'all out there, you know, timing is everything in two folds of the sense. Timing as in, you know, what's for you is going to be for you. And like we have out here in CHAP, that it will not pass you by. So keep that in mind. Like, there is a season and a reason for you to even go to optometry school. So if things don't work out the first go around, you can apply again the next year. The other part to the timing thing is the timeliness of when you're submitting these applications. Dr. Brown mentioned the OAT, that's our optometry admissions test. And the OAT has parts like physics, general chemistry, organic chemistry, biology. Try to take that when you're done with those classes. I know it's very popular and common to take a little gap year, take a break. People want to take the OAT after, they graduated, but I'm a little old school. I took my OAT while I was still in undergrad, my junior year, while that stuff is fresh on your mind. The other part she mentioned is the scoring. The OAT, we try to get a 300. It can go up to like 400 points, and they look at every section. So it's not just your overall, it's your cumulative science grade on there, as well as your individual scores. And really asking the schools that you're interested in, or just any school in optometry, for feedback and advice is very powerful. I was like you too, graduated near the top of my class, not the very top, but like in the top 20, and still struggled on this OAT. And still schools were like, can you take that again and get a little higher on that physics? Like, what part of this is all the physics? I can physics. So definitely get that help and assistance. If you follow Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club, we have resources for codes on like OAT Booster, even with not KMK. Look, I'm all the way in optometry school with CAP for the OAT as well. Our Pre-Optometry Club, they've been doing study groups to help each other get over those humps, fill in those gaps so that everyone can do well on the OAT. For those of you with very high stunning GPAs, there are many schools now that are OAT optional too as well. But definitely applying early, studying early, taking those tests early helps with your success of getting in, but also know that optometry schools are on a rolling admission. So at any moment, even if it is a week or days before school, you can be accepted. Now, Dr. Nwamaka, tell us about your journey to and through optometry school, and what was an obstacle or a challenge that you had to overcome through that process?
So I've talked to a few people. I was on Defocus Media with Daryl. So some of you guys have already heard the story about how optometry school was my plan B. So I won't tell that story again. We all know that Dr. Tiffany Humes, who's on this chat right now, we know she's the one who convinced me to go to optometry school after I thought that I was going to go to med school and it didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we've heard that story. So we got into optometry school. Actually, the OAT wasn't an issue for me. I only applied to one school and I got in after the interview. This was after me taking a year off, but I took that OAT and I got in. Optometry school was challenging for me because it required a lot of third and fourth order learning. And so I had to reteach myself how to study in optometry school. So that was a huge challenge for me, but we got through it. The thing that sticks out the most that I kind of want to emphasize on this call, because I know that there are people out there, is that when I took boards were a very, I call it, interesting experience for me. And I actually failed part one of boards. And I tell that story because even after failing part one of boards, I was able to complete a residency. I got into the residency that I wanted to go to, and I'm practicing how I want to practice. And then, of course, now I have added this whole other component to my career. So this one test that sometimes people don't pass or they trip up on, they let it define the rest of their career, and I did not. And so that would be the part that I think that really almost took me out of the game, was that part one of boards. But again, I went on to pass part two, swung back around, passed part one, handled part three, finished the residency. So all is well that ends well. And so you have to continue to persevere. So for any optometry students that are on the call, or anyone who's still struggling with boards, just understand, you have to put in the work, and maybe you have to change strategies. That was what was required for me to pass my boards. I had to change strategies. I could not continue studying the way that I was studying for boards. And I would not have passed if I had continued to keep saying, well, I've done this before. It worked before. I had to change strategies, but I was able to do that. And so I definitely want to be transparent with that. Like you said, this is a safe space, but we also want other people to know that, hey, you're going to still have the career that you want, even if you are met with some of these roadblocks.
No, I love that. I would say in undergrad, Dr. Brown, he used to always say, conceptualize, not memorize. Now, I don't know how true that is once we get to optometry school, because a lot of times students are memorizing. And my favorite thing to tell students all the time is, how much do we spend learning the color of the tops of these drops and making flashcards? Spoiler alert, there will be no question on board that asks you what color is a beta blocker drop. So throw away those flashcards. Stop learning yellow top, teal top, all of that. You use that, in clinical practice, if at all. Like, you just happen to know these things. But the types of things that we're discussing is knowing how to treat a condition, knowing how to connect, the eye with the rest of the body, with other systemic things, and being able to do that from start to finish. Yes.
Dr. Johnson, I saw a question that I want to answer. She said, how long did it take me to find what strategy worked? And I will say that it did take me a couple of weeks to figure it out. But what I realized was that I kept focusing on the things that I knew. So I would get super excited about all the stuff that I knew, and I would not address the stuff that I didn't know. And so that was the strategy. When I studied, I had to focus on the things that I was getting wrong and figure out what types of questions I was getting wrong. Was it the style that they asked it, or was it the content? And then when I figured out what styles I was getting wrong, I figured out how to better answer the styles I was getting wrong. And then the areas that the content wasn't strong in, I swung back around on that content too. So it was a twofold kind of approach. So I'm not sure if that was helpful.
No, thank you.
I have something to say.
Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
One thing, I mean, we're all steady, but we need to remember that we must maintain that we're healthy. One thing that I was not doing, I was not getting enough rest. I simply was just studying for way too long, and I was not remembering or anything that I was studying. So it's important that we're eating healthy. It's important that we're taking breaks. It's important that you get outside and get some exercise. You're not going to remember everything in 24 hours, okay? So study a couple of hours and make sure you're taking breaks. I was staying up in school for exams. I was staying up the night before. Like, why was I doing that? And then I would get to the exam. The things that I was studying, staying up for, it wasn't even on the exam. Whole time I could have just went to bed and got some rest. So learn from me. Please go to bed. Please get your rest. And when you get up to take boards or whatever exam, I'm telling you, it's going to work out. Just please get your rest. Rest is super important. Looking back, if I went to bed and got more rest, if I was exercising more and eating healthier, I probably would have done a lot better.
No, exactly. Balance is key. I'm like kind of the opposite. I don't stay up late for nothing, especially not studying for no test. And my rule was the 24 hours before, I don't even want to hear about it. I'm going to get my nails done, my hair done, a massage, and relax. So definitely.
I wish I knew that.
That's why we used to call you E-Money. See, I knew there was going to be a reason why I would disclose that we used to call you. Essence was getting her nails done, y'all, in graduate school. E-Money.
Really? I was getting my nails done too, though. But before the exam?
Nails done, hair done, everything did, because I needed to look as great. So definitely, I'm not saying blow all of your loan money, but balance is key in learning how to manage money and manage your time as well. I will say, this is one of the advantages of joining the Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club this last anniversary, because of the study skills and needing learning strategies. We had some experts come and speak to the club, and we were able to gift our members with a LASSI test, which is your learning and study skills strategy. So if any of you guys are interested in learning those learning skills, please join the Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club. And we can help you get that, because that was kind of step one of learning, what strategies you need to amp up and which strategies do we need to learn. And it's things of knowing how to be a deeper learner. Some people, one of the common strategies people were not employing was just simply the strategy of asking for help. asking questions, having some peer, study groups, but also going back to your professors and asking those questions. That is a type of study skill on top of the reading and the conceptualizing, some parts memorization, even learning too. If you are an auditory learner or a visual learner, things like that. I'll tell you a quick kind of funny story. We were listening to something in optometry school, and then I had to go and read these notes. And all because I misread a word, I'm sitting here in this class thinking like, why are we unionizing these things? Y'all, the word was unionization. Unionization and unionization are two totally different things. And that is the difference between having to read things on your own versus visually being able to see it versus being able to hear it. So really take that into consideration. I also share with a lot of people, how did I pass boards? And we had just moved to Dr. Brown, and my brother finds all of these House DVDs. House is the guy who's a doctor. I watched all of those seasons to help study for boards, and then went and researched all of those conditions because I needed cases. I needed to visually see it. So thank you, Dr. House. I appreciate it. I have all of the seasons. And for me, that is what helped me pass boards. So as we kind of transition, all right, so we became HBCU students, now we're optometry students. Okay, now, yay, we get our cap and gown, we graduate, but even more importantly, we pass these boards so we can practice. And now you guys are in clinical practice. Starting with you, Dr. Brown, I want you to kind of share, as you're entering into this workforce, we are all still young, beautiful ODs. Sometimes when you're stepping into that space, being young, Black, and female, people don't know what to make of it, but we step in, we are doctors of optometry. There are many different ways and modes that we can practice in. I would like for you first, Dr. Brown, share more about your role in practice, your leadership within the practice, and kind of, especially being a newer graduate, how has someone like yourself been able to navigate this business space? And what are some of what are some of those hacks? Like, how do I get a job like you? What are some of the skills that I need to be showing and expressing to now take this degree, take this board passage and certification, and now actually get out into practicing?
All right, Dr. Johnson, like you said, I am a relatively new grad. I've only been practicing for about 3 years now. And I work for my eye doctor. And when I first started, the previous doctor before me, she retired. So I inherited literally all of her patients. And the demographics were very different. I used to see a lot of patients who literally did not look like me. And it was very challenging because they had a lot of preconceived notions about my competence based on the way I looked. So the first year was definitely very challenging for me, but I stood strong. And sometimes by the end of the exams, they'd be like, wow, that was a very thorough exam. Wow, I learned so much. Wow, I did not know this about my eyes. And I've been getting my eyes examined for 50 years. Another challenge for me was my hair. One day you might see me with braids. One day my hair could be straight. And that was shocking for whatever reason to a lot of people. But I had to tell them the way that I wear my hair does not determine how well this exam is about to go for you. I'm going to give you the same exam that I would give anybody, regardless of how my hair looks. So that was also a challenge that I had to overcome. But I stood strong, and I make sure to tell people it's just a new hairstyle. Just like you change clothes, I just changed my hairstyle. Please do not judge me by the way that I look, because at the end of the day, you're going to get the best eye exam that you've ever had. So it's very important to just be yourself. Either they're going to like you or they're not. And 9 times out of 10, they came back every single year since then. And I'm also big on patient advocacy. I advocate for my patients. I just want to share this story because this recently just happened to me yesterday. So I had a patient come in. He was deaf. And he did not bring a translator with him. So fortunately for me that I work with my eye doctor, we were able to find a translator that was able to do the exam with us. At first, because he was writing everything down and he was kind of getting sad. He was like, are you guys going to turn me away? And I was like, no, not at all. And he was actually a first-time contact lens wearer. He was everything. And he was getting very sad because he thought like, hey, I don't have any help. Who's going to sign for me? Like, please help me. And I'm like, we're not going to turn you away. You might be here for at least 2 hours because it's going to take longer, but we're not going to turn you away. So it's important to treat everybody equally. And that's big. So make sure you're always advocating for your patient. So now this guy, he feels very comfortable with me, and he's going to probably be my patient forever. So make sure that you're always advocating for your patient, no matter what.
No, thank you, Dr. Brown, for sharing that. We have some people really resonating when it comes to our hair, our appearance, our styles, things like that. And I know Dr. Ngoddy, Miss Maka, she got a lot to talk about, style and the way that we show up. And before we get into that, though, I want you, Dr. Maka, if you can touch, someone asked a question about, how did you decide in the type of office that you wanted to practice in versus an ophthalmology center, things like that. And I think you can shed some light on that. Being someone who did a residency, we did the same residency at Omni, which is a ophthalmology, optometry practice, very busy. But now you have a little bit more steadier pace than the Omni pace in your current modes of practice. So as you share about just your professional journey, can you touch on too, how did you decide what type of optometrist you wanted to be in and what type of setting?
Essence is cracking me up because she knows the real deal. And then she asked me this question. Okay, Dr. Johnson. So how did I decide against doing like an ophthalmology practice? So yes, I did do an ocular disease residency. And it was very revelatory to me, and I loved it because it helped me really get very comfortable on how to manage ocular disease, know when to refer, know when to keep it in the office, different things like that, and how, what were the signs that I was looking for. But the residency was challenging in that I did not like the modality of practice. So I knew probably about halfway through that I didn't want to be in that setting. I also knew that I did not like the we'll call it culture of academia. And so I was like, that's not going to be a thing. And then the other thing I learned was that I didn't really want to work for anybody. So I tried to figure out, well, what does that look like in this setting? Because I went on one job interview and I think he said something like, "Oh, you're gonna work every Saturday," and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm a socialite. I'm not available. I'm Nigerian. We go to weddings on Saturday, so I won't be available occasionally on a Saturday, but not every Saturday." And so these were things that happened during the residency that kind of made, even before I knew the term lifestyle design, I had already said, this is how I'm going to be designing my life. And so the connection that I actually made through NOSA is how I connected with the recruiter for Walmart. So I actually have a contract. I do an independent contract with a corporate setting. And so that's kind of where and how I practice. And what that let me do is have autonomy over my practice and over my schedule, while still not having the overhead of, say, for instance, like a private practice, because again, here you go, I'm a socialite. I got to be out, I got to be gone. And so I didn't want that, that building or that overhead kind of situation. And so that was the thought process 10 years ago. And actually, honestly, it has served me pretty well because it has let me set up my practice the way I want to practice, to be able to treat patients how I want to treat them, but still be able to send disease out to ophthalmology and not necessarily manage it on that level. I like, personality wise, I like favorable outcomes. And so the majority of the exams that I'm seeing, I am able to do quickly, efficiently, educate the patient, as Dr. Brown alluded to. I love that part. Educate the patient, but also give them a result at the end where they get to leave and they get glasses, contacts, or a very good, favorable outcome. And so I love that type of practice. I'm very well equipped in the events that, okay, hey, this is something we need to do, or we need to refer out, or this is this part, or this is that, and being able to educate the patient on that, but not necessarily keep it and manage it in the office. So I love the way that I practice, and I think that my residency is what helped me to get very clear that I did not want to practice in that type of setting.
No, thank you for sharing that. And everyone said that they love it. You're advocating for yourself is so important and knowing your boundaries. And there are other people out here that need to grow in that for sure. So I have two more questions for you guys.
Actually, I'm sorry. So not to say that I don't work some Saturdays. I do want to be clear. I do work some Saturdays. You know, this is a Saturday business. People do like to get their eyes checked on Saturday, just not all Saturdays. Okay. So I just wanted to say that.
So I have two more questions for you guys as we get ready to wrap up. I think it's only fitting that, okay, we talked about entering into an HBCU, our optometry school journey, now how we're out in practice. I think a hot topic in our industry, and I love to see it, is us crossing over into, I would say, in other industries in some sort of way, but also crossing over into influencer land. All of us are people of influence, but sometimes we have to be a little bit of an influencer. And we have a lot of our new and future ODs wanting to know about building a brand and leveraging social media. So I want to ask you, Dr. Brown, how have you been building your brand, personal and professional? And what is your advice to those who want to leverage social media?
All right, can you hear me? Sorry, I had to unmute myself. But I know you heard it time and time again, the power of social media. So we are basically living in a time where like social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, they're like the new search engine. It's basically like Google. People are opening up these apps and just asking all types of questions. They're not even calling anymore. They're not going on Google anymore. They're just opening up TikTok and Instagram. And it's been working out really well for me. So for me, Instagram, TikTok, it's helped me build a community. Building a community allows you to build trust amongst your audience. And with social media, I like to share a lot of educational content. I do like to make people laugh, I like to mix it up, a little balance, but ultimately education is key. It helps raise awareness and encourages people to prioritize their eye health. People, they're going to go to the dentist if their mouth hurts. They're going to go to the doctor or something if they have a stomach ache. But a lot of times people are forgetting about their eyes. I tell people all the time, 20/20 vision does not mean that your eyes are healthy at all. You still need to come get a comprehensive eye exam. And I've done that by sharing a lot of educational content via Instagram. For me, I just need one person to see it. If I'm educating one person, that's totally fine with me. If one person sees it, they're able to share it to a lot more people. And I've gotten a lot of patients just from seeing me on social media. And I'm glad that they're seeing me in a positive light. And I'm glad that they can do that. I can do that for them, especially the younger generation. They're definitely on these social media apps. So I've also increased my patient base with younger people as well as children. So it's definitely helping out. So I encourage everybody to network. I have so many healthcare professional friends on social media that I have not even met in person. So building those relationships, getting mentors, I'm able to refer people to other doctors. If I'm not able to do it, I know somebody who can. The power of social media. So networking, building that community is great.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, Dr. Ngoddy, I know this is kind of like a new school versus old school battle going on right now. So when we think of social media, we also look at, our followers and our likes, but also our physical social media presence, the part that the analytics does not capture. The analytics does not always capture your community presence, your community essence, so to speak, and the impact that you are making just from the people that you meet. So I know, Dr. Ngoddy, that during the pandemic, you really got to boost up your business, something that was a personal vision of yours that I believe started, with an assignment that we did in optometry school, that finally you got to bring it full circle, bring it to life. And as a business owner, like Dr. Brown said, you have to leverage social media, but you've also been leveraging, your personal social connections as well in the Nigerian community, in your Atlanta community, worldwide and beyond, because you're a world traveler too, as well as with your undergraduate community, your sorority sisters and friends. I have been on tour with you at our expos and trade shows. I have been a walking billboard for you, as I am tonight in my Uche frames. So tell us about, how you've been building that brand kind of on the internet and outside of the internet with your Nwamaka eyewear.
This is a great question. I really love that. Definitely, I would say, at the inception of the eyewear brand, when I finally decided, because you're like, oh, I have this great idea, I should do this, and then you stop and then you look for stuff, and you're like, oh, I have this great idea, I really need to do this, and so I did that a few times. I did that for a few years, and then finally it was the pandemic, and it was actually this social media or this virtual meeting setting that made rooms that used to be trade show big, right, and made it this small, right? So you're face to face virtually, right, with these people who, I had this idea that I was going to meet all these people at a Vision Expo, and that was where I was going to get the manufacturer, and I was going to do this and I was going to do that, and then the pandemic happened. And so it made the room this small, and it definitely helped me to kind of get over this hump. I think that synergy and alignment and that timing of the pandemic, as tragic and traumatic as it was, also helped me to get me in front of and network with people who I would not have met otherwise. So I will say that in that instance, I think that the social media, the networking, the virtual aspect has definitely helped me to grow this brand. There was a social currency that existed before. So I think my challenge and my joy is being able to show up the same way on social media as I show up in person, being able to be this girl that when I go to these trade shows, we're still like, hey girl, hey, how you doing? And speaking to people, not doing that weird thing where it's like, oh, I kind of know this person from social media. It's like, I literally have told people, and there might be people on this chat where I'm like, I know you from the internet, and they laugh, but that's where I know you from. We don't know each other in real life, but I do know you from the internet. And I saw that. Did y'all buy a house? Like, oh, how's that going? And just kind of bridging that gap and really kind of sharing that social currency. And I think that that's really important, because I guess if you want to do old school versus new school, I think that personal touch, we have to keep that alive. We have to keep that thing where you still ask about people, you still ask about what you know, and not make it weird and awkward. People are putting it out there that, obviously that's the information, and that's what may spark a more private and personal connection when they say, oh yeah, you saw that I put that up there, well also this and this happened, or also this and that is going on for me and my brand. So I would say that social media has been, and social media in this virtual world has definitely been a springboard, but also being able to show up as my most authentic self, having seen a problem and come up with a solution, as far as the eyewear is concerned, and then being able to promote it in an authentic and genuine fashion. That I think that has just been something that has really helped to start to build this brand out.
No, thank you for sharing that. You ladies, I am running out of time, and I can definitely talk to you guys all day. And I know people want to hear more about your journeys and your stories. I am going to personally extend an invitation to y'all both. Y'all got to come to the Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club, be a speaker so we can get down to the nitty gritty, talk a little bit more. We didn't even get to touch on, just fashion and accessories and frames, but you guys did come bearing gifts. So it is okay that we did not get to talk to it in this space, but I will instruct everyone after the show, go to the Black Eyecare Perspective Instagram page. We are going to have 2 giveaways in partnership with Dr. Ngoddy and Nwamaka Eyewear and Dr. Brown and Eye Candy Accessories and Eyewear. We're going to be giving away some nice, great things. Go on. I am wearing the namesake. Yes, big sister, I am. So after the show, go to Black Eyecare Perspective. I want you to follow Black Eyecare Perspective and Nwamaka Eyewear. Like the post about the giveaway. At the end of the month, we are going to select a winner where they can choose the beautiful Uche frames or a frame of their choice from Nwamaka Eyewear. We're going to do the same thing at Eye Candy. Wear Eye Candy, like and follow their page, like the post, follow our page, and then you will get the option I'm wearing them here. A pair of beautiful, the beady eye stud earrings, or our El Ojo earrings in silver. So we'll have more information after the show. Make sure to finish watching. Go to our Instagram page. But before we leave, just one last final question. Dr. Brown, in one sentence, what is the legacy that you want to leave in this eye care or optical community?
I want everybody to know, don't be afraid to be yourself, okay? You don't have to change for anybody. So when you're stepping out into this field of optometry, just go in being your authentic self, just like I find myself motivating people. You can do the same. So just be yourself and you'll do great things. Don't change for anyone.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, and I'm posing it right at you. Little sis, what is your legacy that you want to leave here in this optical industry?
Thank you guys so much for having me on. The legacy that we want to leave, both myself and Woolly Eyewear, is we want to diversify optical size inclusive eyewear that makes a statement without speaking and fits well. And we want to make eyewear a pure joy. That's what Woolly means. So we want to make eyewear a pure joy. And we definitely want to diversify and make very size inclusive eyewear. So that's the legacy we want to leave behind.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Thank you, Dr. Ngoddy. Everyone said it's a wonderful conversation. We will have you back at the club, which means if you're not a part of the club, you need to join the club so that you guys do not miss when we have an encore conversation with Dr. Brown and Dr. Ngoddy. I thank you both. I love you guys both as sisters in this eye care space and just as colleagues. And I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight, sharing everything from HBCUs to optometry to just simply you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, big sis. Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good
Have a
night.
good night. So as you guys heard, Woolly means joy. And if you need some joy in your life, you can shop Woolly now through October 19th and use code BEP for $75 off your pair. But also don't forget to join us in Instagram after the show to find out how you can be a part of our giveaways. So thank you, everyone. In our next part, we're going to hear from Tracy Scott of National Vision. She's the Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Learning and Development. And we have been working in partnership with National Vision over these last 4 years as we continue to redefine the color of the eye care industry. So I would love to take some time to catch up with you, Tracy, and hear the updates that you have for us. Good evening.
Hi, Dr. Johnson. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. As Dr. Johnson said, I am Tracy Scott. I am the director of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Learning and Development Department at National Vision. And in case you didn't know, National Vision, we operate over 1,300 optical retail stores across the U.S., including Eyeglass World. We have vision centers inside Walmart, Fred Meyer, and some military bases. And then our largest division is America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. And so I lost a year somewhere. I was doing the math, like this is our 4th year, I think, supporting Black Eyecare Perspective's Impact HBCU event. And we've had a lot that's changed over the last few years. So in April of 2020, I'll give you kind of a little history and then where we are today and then where our future is going in the eye care industry, especially as it relates to DEIB. April 2020, which was during the start of the pandemic, this was just before the murder of George Floyd. We all know that we had a huge social justice movement that took off, that we probably hadn't seen something like this happen in a few generations. But like other companies, we had already begun the stages of forming our DEI council. And our council consisted of 30 plus individuals from our organization that were field leaders. They worked at our distribution centers and warehouses, some of our corporate representatives, and just everybody across the business. This group did a lot of the foundational work that helped our department to take off. And one of our biggest goals was to be sure that the characteristics and life experiences of our executive team matched the characteristics and life experiences of our associates that we had in all of the environments that we serve. So by the fall of 2020, our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department was established, and we then had a group of individuals who their main focus was 100% DEI and philanthropy. And so we've worked with various departments, our people services departments, to determine where and how to identify and engage diverse talent, to determine the needs of our employees who already work for us, and of course for our patients and our customers. And a major change for us in the industry has been Black Eyecare Perspective. This group of doctors, as their purpose, vision, and mission states on their website, they work to change the color of the eye care industry 1% at a time. And they are dedicated to this work and paving the way for young Black students who are interested in becoming optometrists. Since last year's Impact Hbcu meeting, we've done a few things. We had our first inclusive leadership training event at National Vision, and this was done with our entire executive team, our directors and managers and senior managers at our corporate office, which is here in Atlanta. And during those training sessions, we participated in some activities that were very impactful and had some discussions that focused on how we as individual leaders respond to the people that we lead based on our experiences and our values and just the various ways we practice inclusive leadership every day. So the overarching theme that we covered was our individual perspective as it relates to DEIB topics, but we carefully considered the fact that race historically is the single largest factor that adds more marginalization to any group. So if you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community and you're Black, there's the likelihood of more discrimination, more prejudice, being treated different. The same if you're a woman and you're Black, same thing. It will increase the likelihood of marginalization. So this type of ongoing training, it's important to us. It helps us start discussions around inclusivity, representation in the various environments where our associates work. And then our plan for the future is to conduct similar sessions with our field leaders. We have almost 15,000 associates that work for us. And I would say 80+% of those people are in our stores. And so it will be a huge impact and a great culture shift in the positive direction when we can expose our field leadership to the same training that our corporate leadership has gone through. In partnership with the Vision Council, we sponsored their Open Your Eyes Scholarship Program. This program allowed students from underserved communities in Atlanta and in New York to participate in a paid one-year internship in some of our America's Best locations. And the students got to rotate through all of the positions in our store: receptionist, sales and optician. They also got to shadow with doctors as our optometric techs and work with the store staff and the store leadership staff. So this was great to provide valuable insight on the job training that's really hard to get these days. And we had 4 young students who completed the program. One of them is a licensed optician now. So we're really proud of that. And we also launched in 2022 our remote exam capabilities. And right now we have close to half of our America's Best stores that have remote exam capabilities. And the phenomenal thing about this is it allows those dark or dim locations where there's hard to get doctor coverage. They're in remote areas. They might have partial doctor coverage. Now, those patients are able to see a doctor and they can see one of our qualified remote ODs. So the great thing about this is that we will continue to push forward with remote in our America's Best stores through 2024.
Thank you, Tracy, for sharing all of that. Thank you for sharing how we're increasing access in our communities. That's very important. Just as an optometrist, as being a part of the eye care industry, that us doing our Impact HBCU is, yes, we want to get more doctors, we want to get more ophthalmologists, opticians, just more people into this profession. But it's also equally as important to make sure that our communities are having access to the profession. And you guys are working on both sides of that spectrum. And I appreciate the work that you guys are doing and what we're doing for our communities. I also appreciate our speakers and the other doctors that have came and volunteered and poured into our club as well on behalf of America's Best. So thank you, Tracy, for sharing those updates. Thank you for always representing, and just thank you for being a friend in this industry. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Up next, we're going to hear from another one of our sponsors, MyEyeDr. I'm going to bring to the screen, hey girl, hey, Dr. Nwamaka Ngoddy. She is the Regional Clinical Director of MyEyeDr. She's also been up to some big things. MyEyeDr has been up to some big things, and I would love for you to share all the things, great and tall, that you guys have been up to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson. It is such a pleasure to be here. I have been to these meetings before, only as a guest, but I'm so excited to kind of be one of the speakers today. My name is Dr. Nwamaka Ngoddy. I am the Regional Clinical Director at MyEyeDr, and my role is really to support the doctors in the Texas and the Louisiana markets. This includes 113, last time I counted, offices with over 200 doctors. So I am so happy to be a part of this company. I've been here for about a year now, and I'm so excited to see the things that we continue to do in the future. I want to start by saying, when you see leaders like myself, it really shows that the eye care industry has made significant strides in promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging over the past 4 years. Today, I'm going to discuss why DEIB is essential for the eye care profession and how joining diverse organizations like MyEyeDr can really help sustain this positive movement. MyEyeDr boasts a diverse and executive leadership team, initiatives for underrepresented students, and partnerships aimed at serving underserved communities. You know, the eye care industry should really aim to reflect the diverse population it serves. We know this. Patients respond better to doctors that look just like them, right? And so it's important that we always have a doctor that looks just like the patients that we see every single day. And our leadership team at MyEyeDr is a testament to this. We ensure that there's diverse perspectives in decision-making, in just service, and so many different decisions that we make throughout the year. In fact, this is the reason why I chose to join this organization. Representation is extremely important to me, and companies that embrace diversity are at the forefront of our profession. Like I mentioned, representation starts at the top. The leadership at the top sets the tone for the entire organization. And I'm so proud to say that MyEyeDr's leadership team includes a woman CEO, a Black chief medical officer, an Asian chief technology officer, and others that really show that diversity can extend to the highest echelons of leadership. In addition to having diverse representation, it's equally crucial to provide mentorship and job opportunities for underrepresented students in the eye care field. That is why we have implemented mentorship programs for many of our new doctors in MyEyeDr, and especially focusing on those from diverse backgrounds. MyEyeDr's efforts to support Black Eye Perspective students demonstrate a commitment to building a diverse talent pipeline. You know, that is the future of our profession. We can also address health. DEIB can also address and help healthcare disparities, such as differences in vision care and eye care, access in other underserved communities. One special partnership that I'm so happy to talk about today is a partnership that we have with Shaquille O'Neal. I was able to join him last month on behalf of my eye doctor at a local elementary school here in Houston, where we brought awareness to the importance of eye care and vision. These students were majority minorities and reminded me so much of myself. Shaq also shared his story about how vision affected him in school to these students, and it was such a fulfilling experience to see him connect with these kids and inspire them. I'm proud to say that this has really ignited his desire to continue to partner with us in various other schools in various other places all over the country. And we actually have a special video to show of this later on. In addition to the partnerships that we have, we also do lots of donations. We donated to UPIKE Fund to help pre-optometry students pay for their OAT and supply study materials. I can't say enough how proud I am to be a part of an organization that is committed to supporting those of all backgrounds. In conclusion, my doctor is dedicated to giving back to underserved communities. We continuously support local vision screenings in key areas. I'm actually doing a vision screening on Thursday at an elementary school, and I do many of those throughout the year. And we're also partnering with VSP and Black Eyecare Perspective at a mobile clinic next week. So very exciting. The importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging cannot be overstated. Joining my eye doctor, an organization with a diverse leadership team, a strong commitment to DEIB, is really a step towards sustaining the positive movement in our profession. Together, we can make eye care more accessible, innovative, and inclusive for everyone. Now, I'd like to share a special video that highlights our mission with our partner, Shaquille O'Neal. Thank you all for your time, and we can play that video right now.
Principal for the day at Pine Shadow Elementary School, and the purpose of the visit is just to say hello to the children, hand out some gifts, let them know that we will be coming back with our team to do a comprehensive eye exam along the students.
Very special surprise.
Principal Shaq speaking. You ready? All right, let's go get them. I faked it for so long. I knew I needed glasses. I never wanted to wear them, but my partner, my eye doctor, did an eye exam and said, bro, you need glasses. I just want to let you know that I was one of those kids that I didn't have confidence in going to the board because I couldn't see. But if you have problems seeing, I want you to go to your principal, go to your teacher, go to your nurse, and let them know. And we will make sure you get the glasses you need. We're gonna come in and do eye exams for the kids and the ones that need help, especially the underprivileged ones. And Uncle Shaq, my partners at Zalaway, my eye doctor, is gonna support them.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's always exciting to see Shaq, see the work that you guys are doing with him, and just to see the work that we're doing overall in the community with our students and then with our optometrists. So thank you, Dr. Okocha, for sharing your updates. I look forward to working with my eye doctor next week as we're on the campus of North Carolina Central University with the VSP Eyes of Hope Mobile Clinic. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to hear some words from Team Warby. Dr. Okoye, Reggie, Brianna, and Vanessa of Warby Parker are going to share what Warby is doing to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging into the eye care industry.
Hello and good evening, everyone. We are so excited to be here with all of you tonight. Thank you so much to the Black Eyecare Perspective team for inviting us to participate in this year's Impact Hbcu. As the team mentioned earlier, we are Warby Parker, and we are thrilled to share with you who we are and what we do to support the future of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the eye care industry, especially at Warby Parker. But first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Reggie, and I've been with Warby since 2018. I'm one of our doctor recruiters who's been lucky enough to connect with some of you during our in-person events we've attended across the country. And can I just say, your excitement is so contagious. We can't wait to follow your careers. Since our recruiting team began working with Black Eyecare Perspective in 2020, we've been inspired by the work the organization is doing and want to thank the amazing executive team for demonstrating what's possible when thought-provoking leaders come together with a mission to do good. Speaking of doing good, Warby Parker was founded with a mission to inspire and impact the world with vision, purpose, and style. As a company, we're committed to providing unparalleled vision care, and our doctors are truly at the forefront of making this happen. Now, let's hear from our optometry recruiting manager about the work we do here at Warby Parker.
Thanks, Reggie. I'm Brianna, based out of Chicago, and I've been with Warby Parker since 2014. What I admire about Warby Parker is its core value, do good. One of 8 core values. Tonight, I'll be sharing with you a few updates on our mission to do just that. 10 years ago, we welcomed our first doctor into our first retail location in New York City. Since then, Warby Parker has grown by opening over 200 stores and markets where we are committed to making a positive impact. And we're proud to work with hundreds of outstanding optometrists. We believe that in neighborhoods both big and small, there's always an opportunity to help improve circumstances and bring about positive change. Now, I have a question for all of you. Have you ever thought about what a pair of glasses means to those who need them? At Warby Parker, we believe having glasses opens up the possibility to work, get an education, and go about life with security and dignity. Simply put, glasses change lives. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 billion people around the world need glasses, but they don't have access to them. Our team works tirelessly with our partners to address this global issue. Since Warby Parker was founded in 2010, for every pair of glasses sold, a pair is distributed to someone in need. Our Buy a Pair, Give a Pair program was launched in 2010 with our company, and we have served over 75 countries and provided over 13 million pairs of glasses in that time. But our mission to do good doesn't stop there. I'll pass it on to Dr. Okoye to share more.
Thank you, Brianna. My name is Dr. Okoye, and I'm based in Washington, D.C. Though I just joined Warby Parker earlier this year, I am no stranger to its Do Good mission. We've partnered with many organizations and local government agencies to provide a school-based vision program in the United States called Pupils Project. 1 in 4 students have vision issues that can affect their ability to achieve in school and engage in life. 2 million children in America lack the glasses they need to read a book, see the board, and participate in class. A Johns Hopkins study showed that reading scores increased significantly for students who got glasses, and there were also significant improvement in math for students in elementary grades. To date, over 220,000 glasses have been distributed through the program. That's it for my updates. I'll pass it on to Vanessa to share more about optometry at Warby Parker.
Thank you, Dr. Okoye. My name is Vanessa, and I'm based in Detroit, Michigan. I've been with Warby Parker for 8 years now. Tonight, I'm excited to give you a little sneak peek into Team Warby. Warby Parker wouldn't be where it is today without its team members. As we grow, we stay true to who we are by aiming to develop a team that's diverse, well-rounded, and thoughtful, where everyone feels respected and valued. One way we accomplish this is by having employee resource groups, which are designed to connect colleagues all across Team Warby around common identities, interests, issues, affiliations, and backgrounds. One group especially worth mentioning is our Roots ERG. It uplifts and empowers the Black community and its allies by identifying professional and personal growth, creating programs and communities to mitigate these barriers, and providing educational resources tailored to promote equity and inclusion. Such programs and resources include book clubs, speaker events, workshops, fitness classes, and even Black Jeopardy. I'll send it back to Dr. Okoye to share her life at Warby so far.
What I've enjoyed the most about working at Warby Parker by far is the environment. Warby fosters such a fun and collaborative space that I truly am excited to wake up and see patients each day. Without me knowing it, Warby Parker has been a part of my optometric journey since day one. I started as a sales advisor in 2019 during my gap year before starting optometry school, and I'm now a full-time employed doctor 4 years later. That wouldn't have happened without Warby's amazing recruiters and doctors that maintain a strong connections with optometry schools. I attended Warby's virtual fireside chats and in-person career fairs throughout my time in school, which allowed me to foster authentic relationships with people like Reggie and Dr. Shaw. Now, as a doctor with Warby, I feel completely supported and able to provide excellent patient care in an awesome and accessible environment. I'll have Reggie close us out.
Thanks, Dr. Okoye, for sharing with us. As a company, we strive to celebrate the diverse backgrounds and perspectives of our employees, our customers, and our partners. We are dedicated to building a workplace that supports and celebrates all of our team members of any identity or life experience. As our co-founder and co-CEO Neil Blumenthal shared, it is critical that we continue to lay the groundwork for long-term change in the optometry industry. Increasing representation takes dedicated time, resources, and proactivity. This is an ongoing process, and our commitment to furthering diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry is a long-term priority. Since tonight is all about you, the current and prospective students, I want to close out by saying that we are so excited for you and your journey. We look forward to working with and alongside you to make the field of optometry more equitable and more diverse. Thank you so much again for being here tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Okoye, for sharing your journey. Reggie, Brianna, Vanessa, and Team Warby for all of the do good that you guys are doing in the community and the eye care industry. Thank you for those updates. I'm going to now, introduce my partner in optometry, Dr. Jacoby Cleaver. I don't think any show is complete without me bringing him on. So, hey, friend, hey. I want to introduce the next guest.
Yes. So I have to do a proper introduction for Dr. Luce Kahinde Darnell, who received her PhD in vision science and her Doctor of Optometry from the University of Alabama at Birmingham School of Optometry, followed by a residency in primary care at the Indiana University School of Optometry. Since joining the faculty at the University of Houston College of Optometry in 2005, she has been teaching in clinical didactic and laboratory courses in precepting in the dry eye, cornea, and contact lens, and family practice clinics. She is now the clinical associate professor and assistant dean for student services at UHCO. Dr. Lucy Kahinde Darnell, welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It's humbling to hear all of that, but I sent it to you, so I knew about it.
Right.
Thank you.
The best intros are the ones we write ourselves. So that's great. And I know we just kind of touching on the surface there. You actually spoke to the club a couple of months ago, and you was very, very, very well received. And almost like the second you got off of the call, I was getting text messages and calls asking when you were coming back. So we're gonna have to make that happen again at some point in the future. But Doc, we know you're extremely busy and wearing many hats at the University of Houston College of Optometry. So we're not going to keep you here long tonight, but we do want to just kind of touch on a couple of topics here. So let's just jump into it. So please share your responsibilities as clinical associate professor at UHCO, and this is a double-edged sword question, right? And then tell us about your responsibility as assistant dean.
Sure. So I want to clarify a little bit. Not everybody is really clear on the structure in academia, but you start out as an entry-level assistant professor, and then mid-level is kind of associate, and then full professor. So I just made it to associate professor. So technically the answer to the question, how long have I been doing it? Less than 2 months, but I've been at the college. I just want to clarify in the intro, 2015 is when I started. And I started out just in patient care. And I shouldn't say just. It is absolutely critical and impactful to be present and there for your patients. But that was my only responsibility. It evolved into research. And then I started teaching a lab course. I actually teach all the parts of the eye exam to the first years. And then it got very technical and starting doing lecture courses, teaching theory behind what we were doing, and then recruitment, community outreach, and so on. As an associate professor, I have more of an external network that I'm working with, like you all. And so the goal is to kind of reach benchmarks for national recognition and things like that. So I'm happy to be at the college. As a member of the leadership team, as assistant dean, again, it's only been less than 2 months. I'm responsible for the oversight and management of student services, programming, recruitment admissions, academic support, financial services, enrollment and registration, and all of the above, all the student engagement and things like that. So I have a lot to learn still. There are staff their staff that have been doing it for years, and I'm learning from them, but I have more of a strategic role in all of that management.
And earlier this year, Dr. Kahinde Darnell invited me to speak to, kind of be a part of a panel to speak to the class of some UHCO students, which we had a very, very, very good time. And so this is her kind of returning the favor for me this evening. So thank you for that. So keeping in line with your role with admissions, with the recent change with the affirmative action being struck down by the Supreme Court, how has UHCO had to pivot, or how will you guys pivot in the future since race can no longer be considered in applications?
An interesting question, and there was a lot of panic among all the colleges when the Supreme Court justices were going back and forth in their arguments. And it's kind of sad and encouraging at the same time that we're not really changing much. Here at the college and in Houston, we are one of the most, if not the most diverse city in the country. And we have the second most ethnically diverse research institution in the country. So diversity is going to happen here. And I think to a degree, depending on how you define it, who's looking, who's asking, that allows for some complacency, especially when we're talking about purposefully and intentionally, aggressively pursuing Black talent. And so I don't think that since I've been here that has been our mode. And so we have always allowed applicants to include their race, and we're still going to see those things. But when I started getting involved in admissions, I actually asked for them to make the applications blind to the reviewer in terms of you're only going to see GPA and OAT and all of that other stuff, because I was hearing some implicit Black bias at play. And so not necessarily overtly negative, but there were very positive things about predominantly white institutions that were attended, or so on and so forth. So you can kind of deduce and read between the lines, and that's what I did. So I actually asked them to cover some of those demographics. If you have a very ethnic sounding name, I didn't want a reviewer to start making assumptions before they see the rest of the package and read the statement. So we haven't changed a whole lot. And I know that you went to Texaco. You were a Texaco student, right? And so that's what Texas had, programming that was specifically for minority students to help them, lead them into, usher them into optometry programs, giving them a little bit of a insight into how aggressive it was going to be, how much they're going to have to put forth, and helping them out. And so that ended actually when I joined, not because of me, it was right before I joined. And so it was really sad to see that go. And now in Texas, it's not so much the Supreme Court decision, it is Texas law that really impacts us. One of my roles was as the chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee at the college, which was new. It evolved, right after the murder of George Floyd, just like many other things did. And George Floyd grew up here in Houston, not far from the college, actually. And so it really impacted us in a real way, just like many other organizations. That is now against the education code in Texas. We legally cannot have a DEI office, committee, or officer. You cannot have an individual or a unit tasked with promoting training and things like that if it's funded by the state of Texas. And that hurts. It kind of breaks our hearts. But we can't stop. I think that an effort like that to change the laws shows that we were doing some really powerful things. And so that doesn't take away our power. It just changes the way that we have to approach what we do. And so I think it's important that we understand at UHCO, we have more OD PhDs, including myself, than any other optometry school. And that means we're committed to lifelong learning. And what happened during the George Floyd era, I call it, that post-George Floyd murder period, where we were learning and seeing our resources and education and commitments behind learning about systemic racism and institutional racism. We cannot unlearn that stuff. Now we know, and we cannot pretend we don't. Right. And now students have more language and lexicon to speak to things like microaggressions and imposter syndrome. And they're more vocal than they were when I was in school, maybe when you were in school. Right. So because we're committed to learning and course correcting, I think we do a really good job at UHCO with trying our best. And on top of that, student orgs and affinity groups are still allowed. As a faculty member, academic freedom is still allowed. I can still teach about social determinants of health and discrimination and things like that and how they impact society and people. I think it's important that we're just honest about the state of Texas. We can't move forward without honesty, but we also need to know where we can make an impact. And there's still a lot of spaces that we can do those things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct, and you are correct. I did attend the Texacop program many years ago, and that's actually where I met Dr. Johnson. I was a student at UH undergrad, and then she was a student at PV, and then we met each other during that program. And I think at the time it was maybe 15, 16 of us, and out of the 15, 16, I think 12 of us did go on to become optometrists. So. And actually, we was speaking at the Johnson & Johnson event the other night. So the young lady, Felicia, that was there, we actually met her at Texacop as well. So she's doing fantastic things.
That's
and as everyone else who was in the program, whether they're optometrists or not optometrists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in your current position, what advice would you give? Because there's a student that's watching you right now that's inspired. So what advice would you give a current student who's interested in optometry, getting ready to apply?
I give a lot of advice, and whatever hits me at the moment is what I give. And at this moment, since I can't see any faces, I am doing interviews more than once a week. I just want everyone to know what they're getting into. Do your background work. This is not an easy doctorate degree. It cannot be purely for the title. That's not going to be enough to carry you through when you're sleep deprived or stressed or frustrated or broke and ready to quit. You have to have a really solid why to get you through those moments, to remind you why you're pursuing this and making these sacrifices. Your reason has to be really authentic. And so when you get to your interview, I think it's important to show that you can talk about more than what you saw with your eyes, that you have done the digging to see what subspecialties you could do, what modes of practice you could work in. We all know that you can Google. I think showing that your curiosity takes you to another level is really, really important. And if it doesn't speak to you, don't do it. Dr. Cleaver just mentioned that some of those Texacop folks went on to be successes outside of optometry, and that could be you, and that's completely okay. And on the other hand, if you feel that this is for you, you have seen some incredible examples tonight, and you know that for us, oftentimes, sight comes before vision. Sight comes before vision. So once we see something, it is more likely that we're able to actualize our dream. So be bold. Don't hesitate to reach out to those of us who've come before you. We are trying to lay the groundwork and the path to make it easier for you than it was for us, or at least easier for us to lift you up when you need to be lifted. So ask for encouragement, ask for advice, ask for help. We're all here to support. That's my advice.
Not that you said sleep deprived, broke at home. all those things happen in optometry school, but
right.
No, that's absolutely correct. I think when I'm speaking to pre-optometry students, that's the same advice I give them. Like, you need to know your audience. You can't have the same reason for wanting to go to a school on the West Coast versus wanting to go to the school on the East Coast. Like, those are two totally different demographics. If you live in the South, there's going to be a culture shock wherever you go. Know your audience. You need to be prepared and ask questions, right? So great advice. The last question I ask you, my advice I give current students is that it's supposed to take you a while to perfect your skills. You should spend the time in the lab, spend the time studying. You shouldn't just, I got it, and run out of there as quick as you can, because you're gonna be confronted with this at some point again, right? So what advice would you give current students, first year, second year, third year students, just a general blanket advice that you would give anyone currently in optometry school?
Show up before the glow up. You have got to be present. And that doesn't just mean physically, that means mentally. You might have to have an accountability partner to make sure that you are up class on time. And if you're in class, you're not on YouTube, you're not shopping on Amazon, that you are fully engaged, because the glow up is real. I was an optometry student. I did not know for sure that I would ever become an administrator. I knew for sure that I'd become an optometrist because I'm a confident person. But depending on your level of impact, that's the amount of commitment you're going to want to put into it. So show up.
Ooh, we may have to trademark that, Doc. Show up before you glow up. Okay, got you. Well, Dr. Lucy Kehinde Darnell, we won't keep you here long tonight. We'll share the link in the description box for our YouTube video for when Dr. Kehinde Brown came and Darnell came and spoke with us a couple of months ago to the club. You don't want to miss it, and we're going to have her back at some point as well. But she's doing fantastic things. She's definitely been a resource. And actually, we connected just a couple of years ago. I'm almost ashamed to say that we had known each other longer than that, but we connected a couple of years ago through a program, an academy, and I'm grateful for that. So she's been a very good steward of Black Eyecare Perspective. She's also very in tune, very involved with developing future optometrists of tomorrow. And I see that you got your shirt, so that's perfect. We didn't know if it was going to arrive on time.
Thank you.
Perfect. Before we get out of here, any parting words you want to leave the guests with?
Just take care of yourselves and each other.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Doctor. We'll speak soon.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Cleaver and Dr. Lucy Kehinde Darnell. Thank you for that information in that segment. Dr. Cleaver, I believe you have some updates to share on behalf of Black Eyecare Perspective and the Black Eyecare Perspective Pre-Optometry Club. Can you please share in a few words, my friend? You know what?
Very few. You know, the last 3 years have been very inspirational for me, and I usually tell the students anytime I get a chance to tell them how proud I am of them. But I also tell them that they've done immensely more for me than I have for them over the last 3 years. So just to close out the year, we have a couple of more club meetings on the 13th of November and the 13th of December. For the current optometry students, and this is open for everybody. We'll make a post about it. We'll have a check-in the first Sunday of November. The date escapes me, but we will have a check-in with current optometry students. We'll have JJ and V come and speak to us, and we'll also have some of the leadership from KMK to come speak with us, just to kind of give us some basic tips about studying and those kind of things. You guys asked for this, and this is what we are providing. So we're always looking for speakers. You don't necessarily have to be an optometrist to be a speaker, but you know, anyone who has a story, everyone has a story. If you feel your story can lend credence and inspiration to our pre-optometry students, then please, we'll love to have you. We'll love to have you. We have 12 meetings every year. We can find a spot for you at some point. You know, if you guys want to be supporters of the club, you know, please go to blackeyecareperspective.com. You can financially make donations, whatever have you. We also have t-shirts for sale. And I just want to say this. Everyone had on their, well, most of our panelists had on their t-shirts tonight. The ones who didn't have it on, we're going to make sure they get the t-shirt. If you have a t-shirt, this is not a home t-shirt. This is a t-shirt you need to wear out in public. This is a conversation starter, right? So Randall Johnson, Dr. Essence Johnson's husband, is a very good steward of wearing these t-shirts out in public. In fact, I don't think he owns any other shirts. My brother also does a fantastic job of wearing these shirts. But these are conversation starters. So if you have a BEP shirt, an Impact HBCU shirt, or a BEPPOC shirt, wear it out in public. When you run on those errands, put it on. And then, you know, if someone asks you about it, direct them to the website. We'll take care of the rest. Also, be sure to follow us on Instagram at BEPPOC and at Black Eyecare Perspective. And we will be bringing back our signing day in April of 2024. We've done that the last 3 years. Is very, very, very fun, high energy event. And, you know, if Dr. Johnson and myself are involved, then we like to give away money. So to date, we have given away over $56,000 in matriculation grants and to our video contest winners. So we definitely want you to submit a video, be creative as possible. And, you know, the top 3 winners, or whatever we decide on, or how much money we have, we'll give you money for participating. It just works that way. The matriculation scholarship, we will aim to give out 13 of those, but there's a criteria associated with that. We want you to be a part of the club, come to meetings, submit your headshot, get coaching, training, you know, those kind of things that make you eligible for that. So there's a little work associated with that, but the work is based on professional and personal development, right? So there's really not a hard thing to do. And before I get off the call, Dr. Johnson, I have to mention that in partnership with VSP Vision, we launched the Empower and Equity Scholarship this year. So this year, to two current fourth-year students, the class of 2024, we awarded each of them $15,000. So that's a total of $30,000. If you're keeping count, that means Eyecare Perspective in partnership with various partners, we have given away almost $85,000 in just 3 short years. And guess what? Class of 2025, we have one more $15,000 scholarship that we will be giving out next year. And, you know, just stay tuned. We'll make the announcement way in advance. And, you know, good luck to everyone who applies. But, you know, we will be at North Carolina Central University next week with VSP Vision doing vision screenings with the mobile clinic. Those events are usually a lot of fun. Come out. We have a couple of our colleagues that's going to volunteer and help provide those eye exams. It's usually a really, really, really fun event. We plan on doing more tablings at HBCUs. We plan on trying to get the mobile clinic to more HBCUs in 2024. But, you know, these events are successful with the docs. So we need the docs to volunteer and help us out with that. But to that token and notion, Dr. Johnson, I'll end with that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cleaver. And you're right. My husband, Randall, he is the greatest. He takes these shirts worldwide. Sometimes it is the only thing that he has packed in his suitcase. This shirt has been to Paris. This shirt has been to Mexico. The shirt has also been across the United States, and it definitely sparks conversation anytime we have them on. And yes, our whole closet is just filled with BEP shirts and BEP POC shirts, which means you guys can also have a shirt. I would like to announce that we are giving away 13 of these amazing Impact and HBCU t-shirts. This one I will announce on screen. So I do want to give a shout out to our registrants, Kylia Ellison, Jeffrey Wilson, Eric Matai, Winter Beaton, Dormicia Ward, Serena Noel, Abiola Busui, TJ Lassiter, Franklin Ikpa, Miss Marcia Page, Dominica Jaca, Nia Benson, and Kalia Knighton. So if you guys heard your names, you guys are also receiving an email. It is not spam. It is me, Dr. Johnson, trying to give you guys your shirt. So please respond to that email. You will get one in approximately 18 minutes to your inbox. If you have not received it already, make sure you respond back with your shirt size and your address. I would love to get that shirt out to you. It would be delivered on or before November 13th. So congratulations. And for those of you who do not have a shirt, you can still make an impact in what you wear. Go to blackeyecareperspective.com, click on that link. You can order your shirt. The deadline to order shirts is October 27th, and everyone will receive their shirt on or around November 13th. I see some new faces out there. We would love to have you at our next pre-optometry club meeting on November 13th. Please go to blackeyecareperspective.com, click on that pre-optometry club tab for information on how to join the club. We would love to be a part of your journey. We also want to help you learn your learning and study skills. So if you are interested in that, please join the club and reach out to us. We would love to make that happen. We appreciate all of the continued support, sponsorship, our collaborations with organizations like the National Optometric Association and the American Optometric Association, as well as all of our diverse industry partners and those that are part of our 13% promise. And we are always looking for sponsors and for optometrists and just other people in our eye care industry, but even in other industries, to come and pour into and speak to the club. So if you're interested in that, you can also go to Black Eyecare Perspective, slide into our DMs, or reach out to myself or Dr. Cleaver directly if you would like to do that. Also, go to our website and our YouTube page where you can rewatch this production and all of our productions that we have had since the inception of Black Eyecare Perspective. And don't forget, we are doing 2 giveaways in partnership with Dr. Brown and with Dr. Nwamaka Ngoddy. So go to our Black Eye Care Perspective Instagram page. So if you don't have Instagram, you may want to make a page just so you can be a part of this giveaway. It's going to ask you to like the post, follow Black Eye Care Perspective, follow wear_eye candy if you're interested in wearing a pair of either the beady-eyed studs, or a pair of the El Ojo silver stud earrings. And then it will also ask you to follow at Ann Woolley Eyewear if you also would like to make a statement without speaking or bless someone with a little joy in their life. That contest is going to go on until the end of the month, October 31st. And we will announce the winner on November 1st. And also remember, you can continue to shop Ann Woolley Eyewear using the code BEP for $75 off through October 19th. So go to annwoolley.com/discount/BEP. Again, I want to thank all of our partners, MyEyeDr, America's Vision's contact lenses and glasses, as well as Warby Parker. I want to thank Defocus Media, who is always behind our productions. We appreciate that. All of the schools and colleges of optometry, to our pre-optometry club, our ambassadors, for everyone that supports Impact HBCU. We do it for you, and we're able to do it because of you. Thank you to the Association of the Schools and College of Optometry, the National Optometric Association, all of our doctors, a part of our Black Eye Care Perspective community, our eye care industry media outlets, and a personal thank you to our Black Eye Care Perspective team, Dr. Cleaver, Dr. Glover, Dr. Ramsey, Dr. Humes, Prathiba, our friends and our family. We appreciate you. Keep a lookout for the information to how you can rewatch this on replay. There will be a recording. You can watch it on our YouTube channel or go to the Black Eye Care Perspective page. Also look for a post survey and more information about our giveaways. Remember, if you see it, you can be it. And we thank you for attending Impact HBCU. We always like a moment to share our wonderful experience that we had with Kia earlier this year for Black Eye Care Perspective, for Black History Month with Black Eye Care Perspective. So I would like to close out by leaving you with that video. And we look forward to seeing you next year. And we also look forward to seeing you in the spring for our signing day event. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
It's important to have Black eye care professionals because when people have doctors that they can identify with, their level of care and attention is better.
I went to a doctor, and he just happened to be a Black guy. And I was like, wow, man, this is what it feels like.
Here at Black Eye Care Perspective, we are recruiting and cultivating our next generation of doctors by going onto campuses of historically Black colleges and universities, telling them about our profession, and inviting them to join our Black Eye Care Perspective Pre-Optometry Club.
We want to make sure we recognize students who are interested in pursuing a career in optometry, and we want to spread the message of how important it is to get your eyes checked on a regular basis.
Even if they don't become a doctor of optometry, we hope that they become a patient of a doctor of optometry. I think our growth comes from amplifying the awareness around optometry. We're making optometry sexy again.